person responsible at all the structures of governance provide all the things that people need. If you steal 2 billion tomorrow, Abulu or Tebe, what do you need that money to do?
Mustafa, thank you very much. That is why we call on states. We understand about 21 states are rushing to conduct a local government election based on based on the Supreme Court judgment, and about 449 are risking FAC allocation for this month. So we encourage the states that are not preparing for election yet to quickly, because if you don't have a democratically elected local government council, no FAC allocation to you. And what Mustafa is saying,
implementation. There's an issue. I don't know whether you have come across it. There are some conversations going on. When this implementation of this will start, what the Supreme Court did was to pronounce certain provisions are constitutional and void, but they're still there in the Constitution. So many are asking, can the federal government, through its agents, the Attorney General, the Accountant General, and all that, begin the implementation when it has not been deleted from our Constitution? That the people, the institution that has the power to delete, is the National Assembly, which will start the process of constitutional amendment. It gets to the state assemblies with the 2/3. What of if the governors influence the state assembly to reject it? It presents a possible constitutional logjam. Some people have said perhaps the judiciary overreached itself, that once it gets to that point and the state assemblies or even the National Assembly reject it, it becomes a constitutional crisis.
But you know that the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution, and then that's the final level of interpretation. If any section of our laws are null and void, the Supreme Court can say it, and what? Guess what? It has to be obeyed.
Yes, no, the issue is there. Yes, they have made the decree. Some have said the job of the court is to interpret, but they went beyond it to annul, to rewrite. That those provisions are still there in the Constitution. That the Constitution is very clear on the process of removal and all those things. That it will still go through those processes. And like I said, if it starts and they couldn't push it through, what happens, David?
I mean, you see, based on the pronouncement of the Supreme Court in that judgment, today, that section of the Constitution that talks about joint account does not exist.
So it's dead.
It's dead. It does not need anybody to go and amend any constitution to remove it. They only, just like you said, for most people, most analysts, the judiciary, the Supreme Court, are overreached itself. Because if you pick that provision of the law, it's black and white. It's clear there's a joint account. You know, but you also observe that this same corruption we're talking about is what the Supreme Court was trying to, fight with that, nullifying that provision.
So who now, if you said it's dead now, who will now go and delete it from our Constitution?
No, it's deleted by the minute that judgment was made.
Because we operate a flexible constitution.
Yeah, that particular provision that particular provision of the Constitution does not exist anymore. What some of us are afraid of is what some persons are pushing for INEC to conduct elections at the local government level. Don't forget, with the local government funds, the governors were emperors, they were feeding fat on it and all of that. They were in charge, and this has taken away those powers and control over resources and all of that from them. And then, if we also allow the federal government to run election, which is what some other those with conspiracy theories are coming up with, that look, this is just a plan towards getting INEC to, so that in states like Abia, where there is a Labour Party, where in Anambra or your state, where there is ABGA and all of that, you conduct election. If the APC is at the federal level, you have APC local government chairman, and then,
But that will spur them to work. That will spur them to work.
Let me throw up a question. If there is another case before the Supreme Court tomorrow, and they say, in our own thinking, our Constitution, the provision where there's a provision for bicameral, is not in the interest of the nation, is against the Constitution, and say, remove the Senate or remove the House of Representatives, what will happen?
That is why analysts are saying, look, the Supreme Court outreached itself, that we must caution the Supreme Court. Nigerians must watch. If not, this is going to lead this country into crisis.
No, tell me,
seven people will sit in a panel and overturn what 360.
I mean, it's not enough for you to say the Supreme Court override. Tell us why, how.
No, that's what
because maybe we should not have financial autonomy.
Wait,
the Constitution says,
Abulu, go and pick the Constitution. It's very clear that there should be a joint account.
Yeah, but the Constitution says
the federal government in its interpretation is saying there should be no joint account.
The Constitution says the federal government can send money through states to local government or can send money to local government directly. The same Constitution says
it does not say that. Go and read the Constitution.
We're out of time.